The difference between a local dirt race and a local high school football game is night and fucking day, buddy. Because there's people at the local racetrack that have more talent than Denny Hamlin's nuts in Kyle Larson's mouth ever could dream of. They just didn't have multiple millions of dollars at 16 to go to NASCAR. Or they weren't some 14-year-old boy with parents who have financially suffered and given every dollar and mortgaged houses and got into this very, very tough and needing help situation. And some rich old man came out of the dark and said, I love your little 14-year-old boy. Let's make him a big star. I'm ready to invest into him because I think he's so special. So those are the two scenarios to move on from the local racing scene. Either you personally have the finances at 16, or you got to be 12 to 14, and some rich old man comes up and wants to invest into making you a star because he thinks you're a good driver, and that's it. That's all, Sean. They just like him because he's really talented. That sounds so logical. Yeah, of course. I think there's probably more talent at your local racetrack than NASCAR Cup Series, especially than in ARCA or Trucks or Xfinity. It's just over there on the asphalt, you can purchase speed. You can have an advantage with a vehicle. A vehicle can make you better than someone else. Once again, Kyle Larson, the greatest example of that. In the 42 Ganassi ride, subpar average, 6 wins in 6 years. Gets into Hendrick ride, destroys the year, wins the championship. Did that not happen? Because the race car changed, not the driver. If you get into a 900 horsepower motherfucking sprint car and you can't drive, you might get killed. You might hurt yourself. You can't get into our cars and not be able to drive race cars. On dirt, you're driving the car. On asphalt, you're fucking riding in them. You're a fucking steering wheel holder, correct. And now they got the data to where somebody's beating you. You can literally go see how they're steering the wheel and how they're using the brake and gas around the entire track. Ted Christopher comment. I do think there's some asphalt racing where you have to drive. Short tracks. Road racing. But the short tracks now with the new car, you really don't have to drive. You're so locked down. I do think like asphalt sprint cars on, short tracks and all that, you got to drive. The super modifieds of the Northeast, you got to drive. The big tired modifieds, I don't know, guys. I mean, I like those cars. They look cool. They're nice looking. They look mean. They look aggressive. But they're also hooked the fuck up. In fact, I would think probably the closest car to those asphalt modifieds, at least visually, would be the new next-gen car with the wide tires. And I would assume, since you are that locked down in those asphalt modifieds, that car setup is premium. Because it's whoever can put the throttle down the quickest and whoever's car doesn't kick out as fast. I would assume, that may not be true. When I was talking about cup racing, Xfinities, and trucks, especially the new age, that's more so what I was referring to in saying I don't respect them and their talent and their ability, and they're all wheel holders. And the differences are who's funded right, who's setting the cars up, who's doing the R&D work, all those things. You don't get it. Real fans stop watching when they got the young cookie cutter guys with nice haircuts. Even the real sponsors that made the sport are long gone. Okay? But NASCAR's problem is also dirt track's problem, because the NASCAR welfare system never just affected us, it affected y'all as well, because y'all got big because a movie of a sprint car driver from California racing a driver in the black car, multi-time NASCAR champion, came to life with Cole Trickle, Rowdy Burns to Jeff Gordon and Dale Sr. All of a sudden, Batman and Superman was flying around outside, and the whole damn world started paying attention to y'all, while IndyCar was splitting up with the kart series and IRL. Y'all got too big for your britches. You thought that people tuned into NASCAR because of a young gun Jeff Gordon. No, they tuned into NASCAR because a movie came to life and there was a battle in that movie. The battle in that movie was the young little rich kid versus the working man, right? That was the movie, and that was the movie in the real world with Gordon and Senior. The rich little young kid and the working man. But since your people were too drunk swiveling in money, and they potentially liked what they could do to the young guns who were begging to get into NASCAR, y'all invested into young guns only. You lost your fucking battle. You lost the working man representation. You don't have that guy. You're trying to convince people that fucking Kyle Busch is the working man. Kyle Busch from Las Vegas, who's been in race cars his whole life. Has he really actually punched a 9 to 5 time clock ever for a consistent amount of time year after year? I'd have to say no too. None of your guys, my point is, none of your guys are the working men. And you lost that representation by thinking the young guns what blew you up. No, a movie coming to life's what blew you up. And then you got stupid fucks like 1,400 horsepower next gen saying, actually, NASCAR's huge jump in popularity was right after Dale Sr. died. It started declining in the late 2000s. Texas Motor Speedway wasn't built after Dale Sr. died. It got bigger, and they started building tracks before Dale Sr. died. Bristol Motor Speedway started building more stands before Dale Sr. died. The popularity of NASCAR got very big when it was Dale Sr. versus Jeff Gordon. Very, very big. It got so popular that's when y'all got y'all's first year on Fox Sports or on Fox. And the debut race at Daytona was on Fox, and that's where Dale Sr. died. Now, obviously, people pay attention after somebody dies. But even in itself, y'all destroyed the greatest race car y'all had and went to the COT because of that. And the COT was the beginning of the end. So that's what happened to NASCAR. Y'all got killed just like we got killed. Our icon died, and now your sport died because your icon died as well. They took the Kenza representation in sprint car racing, turned them into the Cole Trickles. That's been our number one star in sprint car racing ever since. Gordon, Stewart, Kane, Larson, Bell. Now they're making another one in Corey Day. Y'all's star was Dale Sr.'s. What made y'all big was the rich little preppy kid versus the working man. And you got so drunk on money, and when your sport started to fail, you started taking money to fill rides. You developed a new business model based on rich daddies and relatives and funders, people who are bringing money to get into the driver's seat, not bringing talent, and you destroyed your sport because you're an idiot. You don't know what actually made you big. And instead of standing up for the principles and the values of racing, which is the best advance, like in every other sport, the best go to the next level, you turned your back on that and accepted the checks from these fuckheads and the rich little kids who can't drive a fucking car. You turned your back on talent and accepted checks. And that's how you destroyed your working man representation. The young gun era destroyed it. How are you going to find the best damn race car drivers at 16 or 18 years old when you ain't even to an age yet where you can get a job and earn the money to even buy a local race car, to even show what talent you have? Drivers shouldn't be even thought about being selected into a NASCAR vehicle until they're 26 or 27. And even if a guy's 30 or 31, he still should be judged as if he's 16 and rich just because he had to go get a job and go to college and earn capital to be able to race on a local level. Don't mean he's any less talented than a 16-year-old that didn't. But back to the young gun era, that's what y'all think blew y'all up, and it's led you down this path.